when you put yourself in hell, that's the only time you can figure out how the fuck to get through that motherfucker. You can't read somebody else's book about some theory on how to do shit. Some guy who sat up in a nice warm office and wrote some book with a nice cup of coffee in the fucking hand. No, I want to see that guy who immersed himself in fucking hell. And he thought about quitting and leaving and his wife and his kids. And why am I here? Is it worth it? All this crazy shit. And still said and found out a way to get through it. You find yourself when you are not comfortable. When you're not comfortable on a daily basis. And that's how I started to grow. Like I said about the mind, it wants to put you in that nice 72-degree temperature with everything right there. It wants to be in that nice with a little massage therapist. That's where your mind wants to be. Doesn't want to be, and we're going to talk about Hell Week. So it doesn't want to be in Hell Week. In Hell Week, I was in 3 of them. I finished 2 of them in 1 year. Only person to ever do that in SEAL history. There's been people who have gone through a couple of Hell Weeks, but in like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I was in 3 in 1 year. They say it takes off 3 to 5 years of your life. So Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous training. You might get 2 hours of sleep. So many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it's miserable. It's lonely.
That's the way that the brain works. You can actually get these kicks of dopamine by telling your friends about, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. I'm going to start my training next week. It's going to be great. I'm going to feel like this.
It feels good. It feels good to talk about that shit, man. It actually makes you feel good, makes you feel proud, all that. But guess what happens? That alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m. to train. I don't want to be a SEAL today. Or I don't want to be whatever today. I'll start tomorrow. And that's the usual pattern of people's lives. That's why I talk about clearing out the mind. Until you really want to do something, you always get to be a talker. You always get run your mouth. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside of only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. Many people, but don't make dreams master. But I was able to dream outside those 4 walls of that small town. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become. A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a SEAL, or dream about being an astronaut. And all it is a dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become the master. When you become the master of your dream is when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL. You say, okay, I'm going to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. The dream was the one thing I thought about, and the dream was now gone. Now, what comes in, the dream goes away, and the laundry list of details and tasks come up. Gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. That's when you become the master of your dream. So, a lot of people out there dreaming. I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. And that kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better. So let me use Hell Week. This is a perfect example. Hell Week's 130 hours. And 130 hours is a lot of seconds. A lot of seconds. And if you lose, let's say you win every second but one, you lost. It only takes 1 second for you to lose the whole thing. So the 1 second decision is just that. You're in a situation where life is, let's say you're in extreme cold water and your life is flashing before your eyes. Every time that wave goes over your head, your thought process is, I gotta get the f out of this water. And you're in Hell Week. And you're hour 1 of 130 hours. It's all fun and games, okay? Because at the beginning of Hell Week, the guns are going off. It's like a pep rally. So you're hyped up. And your boys are linked arms and you're getting sprayed. And it's like a pep rally. The instructors are yelling at you. Bombs are going off. Concussion grenades. Blanks from N60s. Yeah, hoo-yah, fire. But then what they do is they shut that off. They shut it off. All that hoo-yah, all that hype, it gets real quiet. And they march you out to that surf zone for something called surf torture. And it's that water, that Pacific Ocean is coated. So no more pep rally. You're now in your head. You're linked arms with, your brothers beside you. You don't know if they're going to be there long or not. You don't care. You think about yourself. Way back, and that first wave hits you. Your mind goes straight from hour 2 all the way to hour 130. You can't process 5 days of this. You're now in a fuck you, like I gotta get out of here. You're in fight or flight. It's cold. I can't be cold this long. And then this is where that 1 second decision comes in. You forgot every reason why you wanted to be there. You don't care about SEALs. You don't care about any of this shit. You don't care about fighting for your country. You don't care about that gaudy gold trident that they put on your chest. You don't care about any of that shit anymore. All you want to do is go back home. You want the warmth. You may want something to eat. You want your girl to hold you. All those things of comfort are there in that 1 second. And this is where people lose. So what I do in that 1 second, because we all think about quitting hard, but what you have to do in that 1 second is hard to process information during pain. Because that pain takes over and you can't think rationally. You're thinking about fight or flight, save yourself. That's not a rational thought. It's not a thought that's going to get you through hard times. Most people fail that 1 second. So what happens, what I do in that 1 second, and there's a bigger process to all this, but in that 1 second, I physically stayed in that water. Because if I get out of the water, I quit. So I physically stay in the water, but mentally, I'm on the beach with instructors. And the instructors, it's cold outside, so they got these parkas on. They got their cup though, and they're warm because they've already been through it. So now it's your turn to go through it. So mentally, I get back with them. I'm still in the water physically, but mentally, I'm back with them. I'm chilling. I got my parka on, and now I'm thinking logically because I'm warm now. Mentally, I'm warm. I've taken that 1 second. Let's not quit yet, Goggins. I'm thinking about your options. Where are you going to end up if you quit this? Where are you going to go? What are you going to say to yourself? Because you know you're going to get warm. The second you get out of this water, you can take a shower and you're going to be warm. And in 5 days, you could be out. So I start thinking logically. I calm my brain down because your brain just wants to get out. Ring the bell, push your helmet down, get warm, and then you're really. And these are the things you have to think about the 1 second decision. So that's what that's all about. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back in the proper perspective, and then saying, I really do want to be here. And I'm going to have a bunch of these 1 seconds through this 130-hour journey. And I have to learn to control these, because if I fail one of these 1 seconds, I will not be a SEAL. I will not be a doctor. I will not be a lawyer. I will not be whatever it is. So that's how important that 1 second decision is. It's all about your mind takes control of you. You have to say, I run this. And that's what that's all about. Discipline is great. Motivation is great. But if you can't fit in your brain because it's all flooded with shit, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline. I call it mental zones. Basically, is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. So a lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuck in the brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, it's all a nice organized militant garage. Hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're throwing shit, looking through totes, they're all up. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind. People don't get that. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night, because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go. Every morning it starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. So that's like my cup of coffee. And I'm all about armoring yourself. So the second you leave your house, and the second you open your phone, the second you do any of that, you are now letting in poison and cancer. So I make sure a lot of things you can't avoid. So as I get up, I start to armor plate my mind and body. Like a person's going to war, you put your body armor on. That's what I'm doing on that run. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, now look at that phone, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized, because I know I'm gonna get hit in the mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the mouth. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run. Most people think I'm just some grey animal who runs and yells and just says all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what people believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser, becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. And that process is never finished. I'm always looking for more. I'm always looking for what's the next thing for myself. How can I grow? And that right there was the next thing for me. I didn't want to sit back and, just enjoy my retirement from the military. There's no growth in that. So I decided to go out and do this. People need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K. There's no I'm going to get into school to be this or that, and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's going to come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, or there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. A lot of people, wonder, how did you become this? How did you become so vulnerable? How are you doing a podcast now when you were this kid? You overcame things. You fought them. And now this is what happens. This is on the other side of overcoming. You become very, very powerful when you overcome yourself. I love mastering self, finding another level of David Goggins. I know where I came from, and it's amazing that where I came from, that person could have died. That very fat, lazy, unfulfilled person. And within inside that person was this person talking to you. It's very freaky to me. And a lot of us have these two people that you have greatness way over here, but you decide to live in this space over here. Because between greatness, or between this space here and greatness, there's a lot of work. There's so much space to fill in with work. And we just say, I'll just stay over here in this space. So I like to examine all these spaces, and there's still more. You know a little bit about me. And you've come from that place I talk about to the place I am now. It's not the peace you find, it's the peace I find. And I find so much peace in looking back at that young David at 8 years old with white splotches on his face and stuttering and hair patches falling out. And I look at him and I'm like, man, there's so much peace in knowing what I've accomplished and what I've done. So my peace may be different for others. That's why I never critique or never judge anyone, because I don't know your story, where you come from. I found peace years ago. In the battle, you find peace. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace, because you know exactly who you are. And that is where the peace is really found for me. Let's continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk, get off the podcast, don't be on social media too much, cut out all the noise, get back to mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from.
Where do you go to? You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking.
You've got these problems, right?
I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch.
That's
your
it.
missus says stay in bed.
That's it.
It's comfy,
That's
it's
it.
cozy.
That's
You've got
it.
work later on. You had an argument last night. You're
That's
slightly
it.
hungover.
Because I know every ain't going to do what I'm going to do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me happy, what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it's miserable. It's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I thrive in it. This world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Never be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life, because while you're popped up, there's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.